It's coming through. I click go live. LinkedIn. We are here. I'm so glad to be here. This is the third incredible interview so far on this pop-up summit. And I'm can't wait to introduce you, but I'm going to hold the tension on Marcus Matthews here, because I just want to say that it's around it's about sustainable rhythms and natural rhythms and sustainable sustainable brilliance about NeuroCreative Leadership Live. And the idea of this pop-up summit is to surprise you're watching a summit, and to that element of surprise that sometimes comes along when the message we need to hear at that moment or not, and that's okay to uh, agree to it or not. And that's so it's just to notice that if there's anything interesting here, like, share, comment. That's all not just marketing speak. That's calls to action. When you hear a calling on the inside and there's an intuitive hit and we take an action on it, it's spreading and ripple affecting really important messages in the world. As heart-centered leaders, we can really amplify everything by just that simple. What am I having this information? Am I judging it, or am I inspired by or taking learning from it, and am instantly putting that learning into action by reiterating it straight away, changing neuroplastic changes immediately? Or am I just hoping to get something out of something every moment? And I've certainly been in both of those places, and I'm learning myself along the way here. And such a pleasure to be joined with Marcus Matthews here for this laser focused popcorn event where we get to serve up the popcorn at the end on at the end of the all of these amazing talks. And this one we're talking going beyond the mask and building neurocreative wealth from the inside out today. And it's fascinating, this whole topic. And I wonder, as we share the topic name, what's landing for you as you're listening. And I just want to give the opportunity now to for Marcus Matthews, the amazing mind mentor, to introduce yourself and what and why are you here on this interview?
Thank you, Rory. Yeah, so my name is Marcus Matthews. I'm the mind mentor, and I help people to understand how the mind actually works, not what you've been sold. Now, that is quite provocative as a statement, but actually, this all came from back in 2016. I was a Southern police officer. I got assaulted on duty, and that triggered a ripple effect, really, with my own mental health. And I did what we're told to do, which is go and talk to somebody. And it was the worst thing that I ever did. And I really didn't know where to turn. So I did what all good men do, which is bury it inside and carry on. And then 2 years later, 2018, clearly my mental health wasn't that great. I was masking a lot of stuff, and I ended up wanting to kill myself. So I then entered the mental health system properly. I got sectioned, section 136, and nobody could answer one question, which was, why do I feel the way that I do? Now, when it comes to neurodiversity, ADHD, I can't even say I'd even heard of the word neurodiversity at that point. I'd heard of ADHD, I'd heard of autism, and my understanding of that was kind of naughty kids, and I'm sure for a lot of people that is it. But for me, I started to kind of understand what's going on inside. And what I found was that talking didn't help. And what I found with the neurodiverse mind is that we are I don't know if you can align with this, but what I found was I was calm in chaos and chaotic in calm. So it started to make really good sense. And I don't know if you know Gabor Mate's work. He has a great book called Scattered Minds. And so when you start to look, there's a real big crossover. So for me, originally, it was, oh, we must have PTSD, you'd be off work for 12 months, 18 months, da 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 da. So that was the label. That was the mask, that was the label, you have got PTSD. And as I started to look into this topic, it was like, no, I haven't, I don't want that label. And so I started to understand the mind and the body as one unit linking together, and started to understand the nervous system and neuroscience and all the rest of it, and realized that the system is so fragmented. And I'll just share quickly, because I shared this just before we started, is I want to see how this lands with the audience when it comes to the truth of who you are. Because a truth is a belief agreed upon by multiple people with influence and power. And what I found with people who are neurodiverse, I've never met anybody who's neurodiverse who's remotely horrible. Most people in neurodiverse generally are really nice people. So what was happening now? I was feeling anxious. I didn't fit in. I felt different. I didn't feel good enough. And actually, what that came down to, and I'm going to say that again, actually, I want the listeners to hear what I just said to see if it resonates, because I know you've said this before. When the words come up, do they resonate, right? So, am I good enough? Am I different? Am I whatever it is, right? And then I realized this: I just care. I just care. But the challenge that I had was I couldn't relate or understand to how, I guess, the world was telling me it was supposed to work, the truth of the world. But then I started to go, well, is the world really in a great place at the moment? So I started to go through this journey of self-healing to understand my own mind, but then go on to help other people. And that's why I call myself the mind mentor, because I help you mentor your mind. Because a therapist helps you understand the past, a coach helps you plan for the future, but a mentor helps you to close the gap through experience. And that is the key thing, is that we need people around us who have already trodden that path. And that's what I generally help people do nowadays.
Wow, Marcus. Um, it's it's uh it's straight to the point with what you're sharing, and I appreciate and acknowledge that sometimes these truths, and I do it this way.
Mm,
When I go truth, I go truth because my only truth that's actually for me important is my own truth, and so when I notice what we're talking about with truths, I hear what you're saying, and we've somehow been um, taught or learnt to externalize the
mm,
truth, and what that can end up looking back at is a mirror of either upset about something that's been learned, and then we've got our attention somewhere else other than our own
yeah.
truth that we want to create. And that's where the creative neurocreativity for me is, that I keep remembering to come back to, that I'm not here on a stage just to because I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader because I want to own my own truth and my own creativity. And then I've had to learn how to be a leader just to lead my own life, and I might as well and want to help others at the same time. So thank you
On
so
that
much
on
for
that
sharing.
point, can I just add something? Because this is really important.
All right, yeah.
Leadership is not a position; it's a choice, and that's important thing to, I think, to note. Leadership is a choice, not a position.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And this is the goal we want to get to. So I'm going to encourage, I know that it's really lovely to go into the why and the how and the lots of words. So I would like to, for the next parts of these questions, we're going to delve into like almost like what's the bullet point? What's the
Mm,
goal? What's the relaxation into it? Just to encourage that so that others can see how powerful that is as well. So if that's all right with you,
yeah,
Marcus.
yeah, no, go for it.
Um, so the you said about neurodivergence and whatever, if someone's label or identifying or not with that, or whatever they do identify. And I think the key piece is identification on what we want and or not to label ourselves or not as. And so that neurodivergence, when I'll just reframe it to like your unique wiring, Marcus, if that's there and you're aware of it, um, what's your favorite key self-care piece that's just an easy, quick go-to that's always there for you? Uh, I'd love to know.
Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people will relate to this. Is that I think with neurodiversity, certainly ADHD, you get that storm. You know, the neurons start firing a little bit more than they probably should do. And so, one of the things that we need to understand about the mind is it only has two real functions. The first function is to keep you safe. That's its primary function. And it predicts safety based on the database which is in your unconscious and subconscious mind, and maybe the ego mind picks up on what you're consciously aware of. And so one of the things that I really struggled with, and a lot of people who have ADHD certainly find meditation very hard, because most people think it's about clearing the mind. So one of the little top tips that I've used so many times is we tend to want to move away from the problem rather than lean into it. So the first thing we need to do is whatever that feeling that's showing up for us in that moment, right? That craziness, whatever we're going through, is just to say the words, feel that feeling, and just say, I give myself permission to feel that feeling. So you just close your eyes. I give myself permission. Permission is the word, right? To feel that feeling. The second thing is just to say, I'm completely safe. And that your mind and your body is just trying to help you, and that's okay. So it's the two key words here about permission. It's giving yourself to permission to feel that, okay, and it's okay. Now, because this is live, I'm gonna share this because people will never forget what I've just said when I tell this bit. It's a bit like being constipated, right? We have the pain of constipation. We're trying to push it out. We're going, we're trying to get rid of it, right? But if you do that, your muscles tighten. It's not going to happen, right? So if you lean into it and you relax into it and just allow it to be, the crap falls out. And so this is what we're doing neurologically is we're creating the environment for the mind to know it's safe, for the nervous system to reset and to go from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And the key is noting the vibration of the word that you say and notice how that makes you feel and just allowing it to be there. And by the very nature of just allowing it to be there, it will fall through.
Amazing. That's wonderful, wonderful way of looking at it. And yeah, I hope there's some interesting
Go and
goals.
try it and then comment on the post and let me know how
Yeah.
you get on.
Yeah. Um, so again, we're going to go into like as laser focused as possible. There,
Okay.
as you sense into, there's there are five innate powers that we have uh, as humans over across the board that removes that sense, or when we're in that power or that sensed entity of this power, this feeling, there can't be judgment. There's no focus on judgment of self or others. And so those five that have been noted, I'll just say them at, at you. I'll say them and see how they land, and just pick intuitively which one you think is the helps you the most in currently. What's your sort of? It's kind of like a go-to, but also you know that it's also something that's important to work on that helps you right now with your with what how in your life right now. So the first one is empathy. The second one is curiosity. The third one is creativity. The fourth one is navigation, and that navigation is by means of what's truly important and what am I choosing right now that will lead me there rather than just dealing with stuff in the moment. And activation. So activation to be in flow with that skill, that idea, to get into learn how to get into a skill and do it, and so to take out of procrastination into that into the flow. So out of those five, which one were you drawn to that is most useful for you right now?
Curiosity.
Love it. Excellent.
And I'll tell you the reason why. One of the things that I've found is that when we look at, especially mental health, we work very binary. And one of the things that I've found is that sometimes, certainly from a neurodivergent perspective, we need to build a bridge. And so there's again another great phrase that if we've got something in our mind and we want to reframe that, instead of jumping, have you ever gone, I am enough, I am amazing, I am brilliant, and there's a voice in your head goes, no, you're not, right? Have you ever had that? Right, everybody's had it. So, and the reason for that is that the mind can't make a big shift. There's a great book, Atomic Habits, cue, craving, response, and reward. So it's how we build a bridge. And so one of the really great phrases that I love, which is around curiosity, is I'm here, but I want to move here. Let me test it first. Let me try before I buy. And the phrase is this: wouldn't it be nice if? Like if you feel into that, it's like I've run the bath. I've put my toe in. Is it too cold? Is it too warm? And what it allows your nervous system to do is it allows it to just try it on a little bit. Wouldn't it be nice if I could feel enough? Wouldn't it be nice if I wasn't different? Wouldn't it be nice if I could accept who I am? So curiosity and creating that bridge is definitely something I do with clients, and I do it with myself all the time.
I love that analogy. That is gold. Please, if anyone's watching, or not if, but when you're watching this, um, uh, trying something on as an analogy. I love that analogy of like, I just, I've heard, experiencing the cold actually helps me be better at experiencing the cold. So I'm not feeling like I'm in danger when it gets cold.
Yeah.
Try it on, rather than like have to do don't do an ice bath. That's what you're talking
Yeah,
about in
don't put an
terms of
ice bath, get a wet flannel and put it on the back of your vagus nerve here. It does the same thing.
exactly. It's like, and like you just said before, that whole thing of not going so far with the mind straight away. Just what would it be like to try something on as a first step or as a first little piece to that
It's
puzzle?
like riding a bike. You're putting the stabilizers on to make sure you've got that confidence before you can commit.
Love it. Yes, amazing. So, leading on to what do you feel, again, in a laser focused nutshell, what do you feel is the link between creativity and leadership for you and how that helps you show up in your world?
Well, it's really interesting because I actually started to look into this because I work with a lot of leaders. And this is why I say leadership is a choice, not a position. And I will say that over and over and over and over again. Leadership is creativity. So in the world, we need management. Management is about guardrails, it's about structure, it's about compliance, it's about safety. It is required. But if you look at the way the world works, I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, Fliss, who's a psycholinguist. She works with a lot of people, and she started to realize that a lot of people who become CEOs were actually CFOs to start with. Very neurotypical, very by the rules, very non creative. And then we wonder why the economy is crashing in the world, right? So you need that balance. Good leaders are creative, good leaders are curious, good leaders will take risks, they learn to fail quickly. You need the backup of we were saying this before, you know, if somebody's ADHD, you hate rails, but they do keep us safe, right? We do need them when we've got neurodiverse brains. So for me, leadership and creativity go hand in hand. I do not see how you can be a leader and not be creative. The whole premise is to take somebody from the known into the unknown, and how can you be a leader and do that without being creative? So I think they're one and the same, personally.
Well, great answer. I love it. I love that. Yeah, one thing that came up as I was chatting yesterday, just as a really cool insight that came as well was like creativity's being in its way it thrives the best is in under relaxation rather than, I mean, we can be
Yes.
creative very for a limited amount of time and very laser focused for a very short amount of time under stress, but generally um it's the relaxation piece, the creativity piece is like almost this uh feminine energy
Yes.
type of approach to conceptual energy
Yeah.
to be in intuitive relaxation and calm, and then this other side of leadership being where it's come from in the past of this masculine energy of being in action and masculine approaches.
Which
Yeah,
is
just
very much management, and that's why a lot of people who are neurodiverse really suffer because they need the guide rails. They You need to understand that you need to give people enough room to be able to create, because they will just go off tangent. We know that, I do that. But the thing is that we've put people in an environment of management who are creative. It's like putting a lion in a cage. It's not meant to be in a cage. It's meant to roam. It's meant to be in nature. It's meant to be in the right environment. And this is why I talk about environment a lot, because when it comes to neurodiversity, we've created cages. And do you know the hunter farmer theory? Do you know
yes.
that? Yeah. So anybody who doesn't know the hunter farmer theory, go and look at that, because for me, that was a pivotal point for me. And that is all about creativity and how neurodivergence works. That's why there's nothing wrong. It's just you're in the wrong environment to excel. And that's what leadership is. Leadership is recognizing where the person excels the most.
Amazing, amazing. So we're moving fast through these things because I've got a little uh, suggestion that we do a longer talk in May around this as well. So so we're introducing ideas that we're going to build on for next time. So just to wrapping up here,
Yep.
we're coming back round to the whole idea of you've shared about or being interested in taking the mask off, and leadership is a choice, um and it's building wealth from the inside. When all that you bring when as you've shared all this and you're bringing it all to the forefront, what's your unique value proposition? And what I mean by that is not just a marketing term, it's also about just how you see you and your strengths and your natural strengths and skills that brings you the best results in life and work from your perspective, Marcus, and how you uniquely think and process. So your imprint, how you bring that, and what makes best results because of that.
So the first thing is it's looking at understanding the root cause to why you feel the way you do. We're all different. We've all gone on a different journey, and our subconscious and unconscious mind holds about 95% of the answers. So if you're only working from 5%, then you're not going to be able to shift through that. Once we've got all of that data, then we can start to look at that and make the right choices for us. And so I work on four principles: the environment, the ability to be able to communicate your boundaries and your values in a way that makes others feel safe, understanding the why, not your why, but the why you're doing things, why you act that way, and then really delving into what you need, not what you want. And I want people to just hear those two words, because want is often outside of us, need is something inside of us. And every single answer to every single question that you want to know already resides inside you. And I have the key that helps unlock that information, that experience, that feeling that your mind and body is craving and is trying to tell you all about. So that's principally what I'm doing, is I'm allowing you to take off the mask that you show the world and give you the space to kind of understand who you are, and then bring the truth of who you are into the world so the world benefits from that.
Amazing. S- Sounds awesome. Thank
It
you so
is.
much. Thanks so much for sharing. And so within that process of hearing, if people or not people, but if you are watching and or as I'm experiencing it, I love the idea of calls to action not being just this again business speak, but the actual if it's there and if there's something being called, there's a call to action, it's up to us as the activator to, if we've got something good to share, to remember to provide a call to action, as a leader or that wants to create better change in the world, through to the the creativity piece of the person hearing it, to be choosing their creativity process of, am I into that or am I not into that? And so that is a key piece to why calls to actions are so important, because if we just try and sit still and not do anything, that doesn't create a reality that we want. And so, or if we're just constantly busy, but just not really stopping to know what our calling is, to take the actions that we're listening out for. So to notice all of that, Marcus, what is it that you've got as a call to action that someone, if they're listening, that are really resonating with your journey and your story and what you're sharing, what is it that you have to?
So I've got a webinar which is completely free to sign up for. It's called um, Taking Off the Mask. Actually, I introduced one of my former clients who was a doctor who was autistic, or is autistic, and was really struggling. And she explains about the work that I've done and how it's helped her. But I take you through the key principles of the four pillars that I've just spoken about. But I also take you through an immersion, which is called the Four Thieves of Happiness, which takes you on a journey to understand who you truly are. So the webinar is not just informational, it's immersive. And it helps you kind of take that first step, because when we're looking to try and get help from people, when we're trying to break through these barriers, you've got to understand that you will fail, things will go wrong. This is why that webinar is in place, to say, listen, it's completely free. Yes, you've got to put your name and address in there. Of course, your name, your email. Of course, I'm going to do that. I'm running a business, but you can unsubscribe whenever you want. I'm being honest, right? But the fact is that this is years of work, tens of thousands of pounds of me going and working with some of the greatest leaders in this area, so that I can help serve. So if that free webinar helps you make that first step, even if it's not with me, even if it's with somebody else, my job here is to serve. Because ultimately, when I was in that place of suicide and I've worked out why, I made a promise that was, I never want anybody to go through what I went through. And the reason why I'm supporting you on this is that I truly believe that good people with good intentions can change the world, and they need all the support they can get, whether that be likes, shares, comments, tagging people in, and actually paying people who are brilliant at what they do, that are heart-centered, that want to change the world and want to make an inclusive place where everybody feels that they have a part to play. But we can't do that without people taking action. It's just energy. So I would encourage anybody to have a look at that, send it to a friend. It's completely free, and you also will get some bonus tools afterwards that will drop in your mailbox. There's another webinar that I'd send over to you for free. So there's a lot of value in there for people. So yeah, go and sign up. It's really good, even though I say so myself.
Amazing, amazing. I love it. And yeah, you've just reminded me that, again, that resonance that comes through when you were sharing that, it was just so resonant that you care, it's so important to hear these messages in this time. And yeah, let's say there's no competition. My phrase is no competition, there's only resonance. So the whole point is that, it's either a calling to action and it feels challenging to want to take an action, or try
Yeah.
something on for a bit, and or not, and that's okay. And even if we had the same, exactly the same words, we'd said the same words, you and I, Marcus, it's still, we resonate with each other, but we're also, that's what I like about it. There's also a lot of differences, and that's the
Yes.
point, is that we've got our own unique fingerprint in this life, and that's what's wonderful about it.
And
So
that's why it's ready. You need to take the mask off, not be like anybody else, and be you. Because when you are you, you give other permission to be them. And if we can all be ourselves, then the world becomes a much safer and nicer place. And my God, does it not need to be a safer and nicer place at the moment?
Amazing, amazing. What did you get from this information? What did you get from this talking through all of this for yourself, Marcus? What's an overall topic that you got from this?
I think it is. I think the thing that comes from me is you talk about leadership, um, but leadership is self-leadership first, and I think that you're giving people the opportunity to kind of discover what that might mean for them. But I think the other thing that is a lot of the work that I'm doing that you're talking about here is the way in which words encode and vibrate within our body. And it's so important to be curious about that, to lean into that. Notice how what you're saying might come across, and you've been great in, me, I can talk on this subject forever. So just putting those guide rails on to get really specific on what's needed. And really with neurodivergent people, that's what we care deeply. So we want to serve, we want to help people, but sometimes you need to just get it out there and get it done, right? Which I think is the message that I really back in what you're saying, which is, just go and do it. There's no such thing as failure. There's only lessons.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Nice one, Marcus. Yeah, what I got from it as well was this. We've only just touched on the ideas of like what can be done from that perspective of choosing the self-leadership, taking action and removing the mask. So what I'm getting from this is next time we do the what talk in May as a follow-up, it's going to be a longer session to bring some real that co-creative value to this. So what I'm getting is the sense of that inner wealth, the inner or the outer wealth becomes from the inner wealth, and
Mm.
so we can delve into that further. This richness that can be accessed
Yes.
and the self-leadership in action. I think there's something there that will co-create something. How do you sound about that?
Yeah, yeah. It is everything. All the answers are on the inside, not on the outside. And as soon as you give yourself permission to go and dig, it's interesting how life starts to change.
Let's do it. All right, nice one. Thank you so much for watching. There's going to be looking out for more of these. There's a hashtag NeuroCreative Leadership Live 2026, I think. It's going to be in the description of the videos. And there's a registration page for getting uh, access to free uh, watchable links for all of these wonderful topics that we have today and leading up until the 9th of February. And when that point is, we will have a panel discussion, some uh, fun ways to celebrate what we actually achieved here with sharing out all of this knowledge. And so it's immense what we're doing every day, and I certainly have had to help myself remember that first and foremost. And same for you, Marcus. What you're doing is taking a stand for what's so important in life. And so thank you for being here and doing what you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
We'll speak soon,
Speak
and
soon.
all the best.